Hello, welcome back to another video. Hello, my name is Thalia, and if you don't know, I am 18 and going to be entering college in the next year. Actually, in the next 2 months. If you didn't already know by the title, I am going to the University of Texas in Austin. I've lived in North Austin for most of my life now, and so going to UT was always like a big dream for me. When it came to college admissions, UT was the first one that popped in my head and popped in probably lots of your heads. That's why you've clicked on this video. But for me, getting to UT wasn't really that easy. Honestly, getting UT had me very nervous because, so here's the thing. So Texas has this law that if you're in the top 10% of your class, you can get into any public university you want to. That includes A&M, Texas Tech, UTSA, UT Dallas, any public school in Texas you could get into, except for one. That is the University of Texas at Austin. For UT Austin, you have to be in the top 6% in order to be automatically accepted. That's how most of the people get in. Most of the people who go to UT Austin, 75% actually, are people who are in the top 6% of their high school classes. And just a clarification, if you're automatically into UT, that does not guarantee your major. So you could be in the top 6% and saying you want to be in engineering, and if you can't get into engineering, they'll put you somewhere else, but you'll still be in, I had a lot of friends who were in the top 6% saying, oh, I'm so nervous about my major, and I was just nervous to get in because I am not in the top 6%. If you didn't know, I'm actually in the top 13.9% is what I wrote on my resume. I gotta get those decimals. Can't run into 14. I am in the top 13.9% of my class. Basically, today I'm just gonna be reading through my resume, which includes my scores, my extracurriculars, other things that I feel like UT looked at that helped me get in. So I went to a public high school, graduated in 2019. My unweighted GPA was a 3.932 on a 4.0 scale, and my weighted GPA, so weighted GPA includes AP classes, my weighted GPA was a 4.875 on a 5.0 scale. So those are my GPAs. I was number 55 out of 393 students. So again, top 13.9%. That's not even the top 10%. I couldn't even get into A&M automatically. I couldn't even get into Texas Tech automatically. And each college has breakdowns about so you're in the top 25% of your class. Well, if you have this SAT score, you can still be automatically in as long as you have one or the other. On the SAT, I initially got a 1420 and then I also got a 1400 exactly. And let me tell you, those did not come easy. On the PSAT, I actually got a 1320, I think. And so I was like, whoa. And I didn't even study for that. So I was like, man, what can I do with studying? So about a month in preparation for the SAT, they have this Khan Academy, which is super helpful, by the way. And all you have to do is 15 minutes a day. And they take your score from the PSAT and they're like, oh, you did really good reading science passages, but you're really bad at reading history passages. So they'll test you more on where you're weaker, maybe in those history passages. So that's what I did. I did the Khan Academy. It's free. You just do 15-minute practices every day. And I did that about a month before the SAT. And I didn't do every day. I'm not that diligent, but I tried to really keep up with it at least 5 days a week. And it's only 15 minutes, by the way. It's free, 15 minutes, get on your computer, do 7 practice problems of math a day, and you're done. And I improved my score by 100 points. 100 points. So I went from a 1320 to a 1420. And I got a 740 in my math. But then I retook the SAT again in July without really studying, kind of studying, but knowing my knowledge from the other SAT, and I got a 1400, but I got a higher score on my reading. I got a 710 on my reading. So composite, my highest math from the test I took in March and my highest reading from the test I took in July, I got a total of 1450, which is what I wrote on my resume because I was really trying to beef myself up. The ACT, I got a 31, which is the equivalent of a 1420 on the SAT. I feel like if you're gonna do good on one or the other. So I was good at the SAT, but maybe the SAT is not your thing. Maybe the ACT is your thing. Try to get at least one of those to be your thing because I feel like it's hard to go into college and not have this big SAT, lifter behind you, because I think that was something that really helped boost me up. So pick one or the other, SAT or ACT. I recommend SAT because they had free, easy practices online that were tailored to me. But if you find like an ACT book or you have a tutor or something, that's cool. That's what you rock. Also, I was a National Hispanic Scholar. So basically, if you're Hispanic, I am Hispanic, and you get a high enough score on your PSAT, which you take in the fall of your junior year, then depending on, what region you're in, you could be named a National Hispanic Scholar. And that could be, and there's also national scholars just for PSAT in general. That's for everybody, not just Hispanic people. But you could be named National Hispanic Scholar, which I was named, and that's because I got a high score on my PSAT. So it's not just the SAT you have to study for, it's also the PSAT, which can help you so you can be a National Hispanic Scholar or even just a National Merit Scholar, National Merit Finalist. Those are very good, especially not just getting into colleges, but in getting scholarships. I know so many of my friends who went to University of Texas in Dallas because I think that they offered like very heavy scholarships for people who are National Merit Finalists or National Merit Scholars. So even if you do bad on the SAT but you do good on the PSAT, that could give you money, that could give you admittance. And then I also wrote some community college courses I took. So my school had this thing called Dual Enrollment, where basically you could take a college class at the local community college. They'd teach it at the high school and you get free college classes. Then you can go to college having all these classes already taken and you don't even need to pay or anything. So that was super good. Next, what I wrote down was my employment. I've had 2 jobs in the past. I have worked at the Cedar Rock Railroad, which you can click and see my job there. I wrote train engineer because I was applying for engineering. I was applying for, my first choice major was architecture, and then my second choice major was architectural engineering. And so I was really saying, like, emphasizing engineer. Like, anywhere that I could beef up, like, the word choice or the stuff of my resume, I kind of did. In reality, you could call it a train conductor. You could say, oh, I was a train conductor or worked at the train. But I wrote train engineer, one of those highlighted words that will really stick out to admissions people being like, whoa, engineer. I just wrote what I did in the job, how long I was working there. And then my other job that I have was at Code Ninjas, and it's basically a code tutor. And so that was another thing that I think helped me out, because it wasn't just like, oh, I worked at Wendy's in my spare time. It's I worked at a place that tutored kids how to code, which I feel like really helped hone in the theme that I would want to be in STEM. So I think that's something that can help you out, because what they want to see really is that you're driven, even if you don't have the highest GPA or SAT score, they just want to see that you're driven, that you really want what you want. And then I wrote one summer activity. UT has this thing that they do, I think every summer, I don't know. It's called the MITE program. MITE stands for My Introduction to Engineering. And it's for all rising seniors, so it's from your junior to senior year, and you go there for a week, and it's basically engineering camp, a nice little taste of the engineering school at UT and all the different majors they have. If you're unsure of whether you want to do engineering, or if you're unsure of what type of engineering you want to do, then you can go to the MITE program, and they'll give you a little day where you each get to go into all the different types of engineering, and you also get to explore the campus and see if even UT is a place for you there. And I think that helped also with my jobs to show that I was driven for what I wanted, that I wanted to be an engineer. So I participated in this summer program. And the MITE program also is a program that you have to apply for. It's free. It's free. You get to go to UT, stay in the dorms, be fed, all for free. But the thing is, you have to apply for it. I'll link that down below too for you so you can see what it's like. So I wrote some clubs I was in. I don't think I was very active in clubs when I was in high school. So I was in this one club called Chick-fil-A Leadership Academy, like special word again, Leadership Academy. It was at my school. Chick-fil-A sponsored it. We had Chick-fil-A at every meeting. We got to do volunteer activities with the club. Crochet Club. Now here on Crochet Club, I wrote Vice President, mostly because, so Crochet Club was a club that my friends and I made. We basically just sat in the library and talked and kind of crocheted sometimes. And so there was no real officer position in that club because it was just kind of just me and my friends, and we get a special spot in the yearbook. And so I wrote vice president, and I asked my friend, say, hey, could I write vice president on my resume? And she's like, sure. So I wrote vice president on here because that's my leadership position. So again, is one of those things I beefed up. It's like crochet projects and teach others how to crochet. A founding member helped start a new club and, bring crochet to the school, That's another thing. You could start a new club. And even if it's just you and your friends, you have a leadership role in your own club that you started, even for just 1 year. Some other clubs, I wrote theater, awards, honors, and recognition, National Hispanic Scholar. I wrote Chick-fil-A Leader Academy Scholar. That was basically the club, and they handed everybody a paper that said if you're in the club, you get to be a Chick-fil-A Academy Scholar. So I wrote it down. Anything, I wrote it down. Yeah, when I was in theater, they're like, oh, thespian of the month, and I was that 1 month. So I was like, write that down. Anything that they would give. Yeah, I got a lot of these from theater because I found that you can get a lot of awards in theater, because we had short films. So in my short film that we made, my group was awarded best editing, so I wrote that down. We did our play, and everyone nominated who was like best in the play, I got that. And even though these weren't all like engineering stuff, they showed that I was devoted to at least one club. I think it's better to have one strong club that you really believe in, that you spend your time with, than a bunch of little clubs that you kind of are half in, half not. So I was kind of mainly focused on theater during my time at high school. So I really put a lot of effort in there, and a lot of my awards and recognition showcase that. Anything I could think of. It's like, mom called me cute once, write that down. Everything. Additional skills. Now here's where I beefed it up. These additional skills. Proficient in Spanish speaking and writing. I took 4 years of Spanish, and I can somewhat listen and speak and stuff and write. I'm pretty sure I can write and read. It's the speaking and listening that kind of gets me. But I'm like, proficient. I took Spanish. Skilled in using Autodesk Inventor. We used like one class where we had Inventor. So I was like, I'm skilled. Like, I was good at that class. So I was like, basic photography ability. Like, everyone has a basic photography. Like, if you have nothing to write on your resume, write basic photography ability. Because honestly, everyone has basic photography ability. If you have a camera, if you have a phone, if you have anything that takes photos, boom. Have you ever taken a photo? Boom. Basic photography ability. Self-taught to play the ukulele. I have a ukulele. I can play like 5 chords on it that I taught myself. Self-taught to play the ukulele. Excellent in crochet, embroidery. Proficient in Microsoft Office, including Excel and PowerPoint. Ooh, I know how to use PowerPoint, and I'm writing that down. I know how to make a PowerPoint. Experienced with editing with iMovie and Windows Movie Maker. I'm editing this on my iMovie on my phone right now. I'm experienced. I'm skilled. Excellent written and verbal communication skills. Have you ever written a text? Have you ever had a conversation with someone? Boom. Excellent written and verbal communication skills. Great at multitasking and time management. I am. Proficient in using a Texas Instruments brand calculator. I know how to use a calculator. Like, I wrote this down, and they looked at they're like, she knows how to use a calculator. Creative minded. I'm creative. Okay, yeah. 35 plus hours of community service. So I think I had like 36, and I was like 35 plus because that could be like interpreted in many ways. Is it 36? Is it 10? And I also didn't volunteer a lot. I had friends that had like 100 hours or something, and I was like, my community service wasn't that much, but again, I beefed it up. Even if you don't have a lot, really showcase what you do have. I made little descriptions of all the places I'd volunteered, and I wasn't in National Honor Society or any club that required you to volunteer except for that Chick-fil-A club, which I was only in 1 year. So all the volunteering I did was on my own, and so I didn't have like a lot because that wasn't one of the main things that was on my mind. So I did a couple volunteering, and I just wrote those down, 35 plus hours. So yeah, at the end of all what's on my resume. And then I had my essays. I don't know if Avery or my dog is being loud, but if they are, I apologize for that in advance. I also had my essays and my short answers, and just as important are the academics are what you write or what you tell. I will link my short answers and my essay down below. I really kind of don't want to read them out loud right now because I don't know, I don't like reading my own writing. But if you want to read them, if you want to get inspiration for your own, this right now is not consent to copy my writing and make it yours. That is cheating, and I am not letting you do that. But you can read mine and take inspiration from mine. I felt like these were what really had to work hard on. So I worked hard on these essays and short answers. I wrote them. I had my mom read them. She gave me critiques, she gave me edits, and then I looked at them and I rewrote them. She gave me critiques, and we kept on doing that until I felt like we were good. And if your mom is not much of a writer, but you have someone else in your life that's good at writing, maybe a teacher or a friend even, or sometimes if you just read it out loud, it helps you really hear it like in a different perspective, just reading it out loud to yourself. And that is all that I submitted to UT that helped them decide that they wanted me. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that I gave you some tips and tricks to help you get into UT Austin or even another high college or even another Texas State college. I hope that this helped you out, and I hope that you get into the college of your choice and that you have a good life and successful life. So thank you so much. Please subscribe for more, and if you would like to hear more college related things, like when I'm gonna go to college in the fall, maybe I'll do a move-in vlog or more college updates, tips, tricks. Let me know in the comments, and thank you.